After watching this video, you will know everything necessary to be prepared for the Sons of the Forest release. Sons of the Forest was announced back in 2019, and fans of the survival horror franchise were ecstatic with the hopes and dreams swimming in their minds. The game was supposed to release in May of 2022, but unfortunately the euphoria of the soon-to-be release date was destroyed by a delay. The new release date was moved to October of 2022 because the scope of the game was too ambitious and they didn't anticipate the work required. Players waited, and eventually the hype train began to travel as the release date came again, and 2 months before October, another delay was announced, this time to where it is currently, February of 23. To say people were pretty upset is an understatement. The internet has given people large mouths and small brains, and they are not afraid to use them. To mitigate the unavoidable toxic rage from their fan base and those chasing hate clout who don't even play the game, they posted the game price as a very reasonable $30. And now, as the game is soon to be released, there will not be a delay, but instead the game will release into early access. Because again, the scope of the game is just too advanced for them to meet the deadlines they place for themselves. Though it is releasing in early access, I'd say it was worth it because it is currently the most wishlisted game on Steam, which is no small feat. And also, there's tons of the Forest players originally who love the early access style of the original Forest game and want to see that same vibe again. There are tons of features that are coming into the game, and like I said in my previous Dead Island 2 video, this is an era of refinement, not invention. Most of the features are certainly refinements, but to make a successful mark in the survival genre, you don't need to create anything new, but just evolve what already exists. And that is what they are doing. The map itself is going to be 4 times larger than the previous island and will be filled with different kinds of cannibals, mutants, and wildlife. I'll talk more about these NPCs later in the video. Crafting is taking its place at the table, but this time adding more crafting, different technologies, and animations. 3D printing will be in the game, but I am unsure how expansive this crafting tree will be for this 3D machine, and if the 3D ink will be super limited, and how durable these items will even be. There's also a handheld chainsaws in the game and a shovel that previously in a Q&A session with Farket, the developers said would be used to dig up a bunker door. There is advanced base building that has ditched the blueprint placement design of the last game in favor of a more intuitive and bare-bones magnetic snap system, which I'm pretty sure is going to make for some very interesting content and very interesting builds, and I can't wait to see human ingenuity at its finest. The chops of wood they show in the video feel very organic and very satisfying, and it feels that way in the videos. I can't wait to experience how it feels for myself in just a couple days. Hunting and fishing will be in this game. You obviously can't have a game labeled as survival without that staple feature. The weather itself is dynamic, and there are seasons in the game, and I will dip my toe in the artificial intelligence topic for this one just a bit and say that you will notice the colder the weather gets, the more clothes the cannibals will wear. This may not seem like much, but for them to understand the temperature and dress responsibly instead of just being immune, naked, and proud to everything but physical damage is fantastic, and a huge step forward in AI intelligence. And though the game isn't releasing on consoles, lots of love is going towards the PC players with a reported 8-player co-op. That sounds like absolute insanity to me, but with 4 times the map size, it might be just right. Now, I mentioned it previously with the weather system, but something I need to stress because it is the most interesting change slash feature slash whatever you want to call it to the game is the artificial intelligence. I made a video on it before, so I won't go into much detail here, but let me just say this. The enemies might just outsmart you. They work together. They have different intelligences. They can choose leaders of groups. They can build their own strategies. They can armor up and equip better weapons. They can start hunting parties if you're too aggressive. They can take note of your actions and build somewhat of a relationship with you, and they can store memories of what you do to them or for them, including your ruthlessness or your mercy. They can even start their own religion. And that's just the enemies. That is saying nothing about your NPC companions that follow you, get tired, eat, sleep, drink, fight, alert you if you're unaware of an enemy, but they are, and they can even be deleted from your game if you shoot them in the face. You can give tasks to these NPCs and really experience helpful AI. Dead Island 2 is going to be known for its graphic body destruction. Sons of the Forest is going to be known for its artificial intelligence. Combine the two, who knows what glorious zombie baby will be produced. What I don't know, but would be cool to see, is perhaps if you can have a cannibal follower, one that maybe is smaller and weaker than the other cannibals and was outcast from the tribe, and you take him in. Or maybe you beat one in combat, and then if you show it mercy enough times, maybe they'll swear loyalty to you. Or maybe there is a wolf companion that you can feed and take care of if it's injured, and eventually it trusts you. I don't know. Not my choice, obviously, but the sky's the limit now that they are really honing in on what it means to implement AI into their game. The story of Sons of the Forest is pretty basic and follows in line with the last game. The previous island was being ran by a company called Sahara, and this island is no different. Sons of the Forest takes place on a second island mysteriously called Site 2. There are references to this island in the first game. You are heading to the island to find a missing billionaire with other highly trained operatives. It is likely that you play as Timmy, the child rescued from the first game, but being as we aren't specifically told who we are playing, it may be possible that we get to create our own character. Then again, we weren't introduced to our character that we played in the first game either. As you can see, much of the game is still shrouded in mystery, but honestly, I don't think any of us mind that at all. The story of the first game was so dreadful, so beautiful, and so deep, and no one expected it at all. I can't wait to see what they actually tell in this game. The requirements to play this beautiful game is an Intel Core i5-8400 or an AMD Ryzen 3 3300X, 12 gigabytes of RAM, a GTX 1060 or AMD RX 570, and 20 gigabytes of storage, preferably on an SSD. And I think that's important to note because I think a lot of people looking at the videos anticipated this game requiring a lot heftier graphical output and processing power, but clearly that's not the case. So it's pretty amazing to see what they're able to do with performance and power and visuals on something like a GTX 1060. Sons of the Forest promises to be the most compelling and advanced survival horror game coming out this year, and if you want more videos about it, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel, and if you aren't sold yet, check out my other videos to get a feel for it. And if you want to see what Dead Island 2 is doing to elevate their game, watch this video. Either way, I appreciate you all stopping by, and I can't wait to see you all on Site 2. Happy surviving. Path out.